I would, begin first maybe by just slightly challenging your initial premise about the some of the disagreement or internal factionalism or divisiveness within the Jewish community as somehow symptomatic of a rise in anti-Semitism. I actually would not agree with that premise, but I would argue that that we are seeing globally and certainly manifesting here in the United States in recent years a growing incivility, a shedding of certain filters and safeguards against extremists or bigots acting out their most innermost evil, hateful, destructive thoughts. And it has led to a significant and steady rise in incivility and, as you correctly point out, acts of anti-Semitism and hate. And none of this exists in isolation. In so many respects, the way Jewish communities are treated, are related to broadly in civil society is a bellwether often for the health and the well-being of that society overall.
So with that, I want to turn to you, Dr. Laitman. Do you agree that the relationship between the Jewish factions and the Jews in general, do they have any bearing on the state of the world around them and the attitude of the world to them?
What I claim is that there is a call of in our time, a specific unique process that's happening that causes the rise of anti-Semitism, and it will continue to rise, and that happens in tandem with a general global crisis that the world is undergoing, and it even has to do with the natural phenomena that we're seeing in the surrounding ecosystem. There is an escalating collapse of our civilization that has to do with every realm of human engagement, as well as the relation of the world towards the people of Israel. All these things are intertwined and they're escalating, and from what I see through the view of the wisdom of Kabbalah, this is not going to stop, and it will escalate to the point that we'll have to correct it by correcting human connections. Anti-Semitism comes from a very specific root cause. This is also something that's mentioned in the scriptures. We have to come to a point where our connections also exemplify or lay down the path for the connection of the whole of humanity. And by that, we can bring a lot of crises to a stop. And that even includes our influence on the surrounding nature, the natural system. And so, whether it happens in a better way or in a worse way, we're going to have to improve our connection, as we were familiar with the concept of love thy friend as thyself. And the Jewish people will have to do this. This is a dynamic that needs to be understood, and it's not something that we can actually escape. It is something that is right in front of us that we have to implement. The cause of anti-Semitism is because we are not carrying out this law of increasing connection. And as a result, there is increasing hatred towards the people of Israel because there is some deep-seated sense that we possess a key to this human connection. So it's not that I just want to say that, or anti-Semites are saying what they're saying. This is something that is embedded in nature, and this is the real dynamic that the Torah is talking about. So also from a simple research we can find evidence for that, and this is what Kabbalah explains in detail. And so anti-Semitism is not going to stop until we will rise in our level of connection that will radiate to the rest of the world. If the Jewish people will start doing that, then all the nations of the world will also begin to do that, and then the general crisis will subside. That's a summary of how I see it.